Portland Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars.
And we are live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network here with Hometown Heroes Wednesday night, presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. And well, I think we got a bunch of wind, we got a bunch of things going on up here in the east, and I think it may be catching up with my internet connection a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad. The last one was a little choppy. That's why we did a restart here, but hopefully it'll be good enough to hang out here all night. I see I just got a frame rate droppage, so hopefully we're hanging on. Hopefully it runs smooth enough to get us through the show. I'll rely on some of the guys here in the admin chat to keep me updated with that, because I don't want to keep the chat or any of that live on my computer tonight. I don't want to slow it down. It's definitely not the angle I want to take this thing as. Looking over right here as I'm about to shut it down, I do think you guys are a little bit behind where I'm currently at, so not necessarily the best news, but hey man, we'll see how it goes here. As there you probably heard me talk, I did pull it up. It's a little choppy here and then, and man, I just don't know what we're going to be able to do about it here tonight. Hopefully it's good enough that it's not that bad, but I'll tell you what, you guys at Flatline Racing Bodies, you know, I want to bring you the best I can here, and if it doesn't change up, you know, we'll definitely work out a deal for you here this evening. Is gonna bring the racing to you. Just might not be as good a quality here as we are normally used to. We get ready to roll into qualifying here. Patrick Spangler out on the track right now. In this 39 machine, the high side banger looking to go as high as he can here through 3 and 4. Is that way he carries all this momentum here on the qualifying lap. Right now, who is going to be purple here? Who is going to be quick time? Right now, it is the high side banger, Patrick Spangler, with your point leader, Brian Moore Sr., close in tail right now, P2. Coming around for his second lap. Can Brian Moore Sr. find any time? A little bit, but he's still going to fall down to third as Pat Boyce in the 41. But now, looky who, the salesman, Blake Chapman, moves to the top row. He's doing it there on the bottom. Seeing different lines, different strokes for different folks here. Jeff Barker, purple through Sector 1. What is he doing, Sector 2? The Brewerton Beast goes to the top of the charts. Quick time for the 5:13 of Jeffrey Barker. So I keep getting these notifications, you know, dropping frames here. I keep trying to tweak a little bit of the settings. Man, not much. I don't think I'm going to be able to really do here. This is a newcomer, Armando here. He pulls it in. I just got to him right as he was pulling in there. Armando Melgoza, I guess is how I'm going to pronounce that until I get a better, an opportunity to talk to the driver of that 531. But once again, you know, if you're out there watching, guys like Patrick, Roger, let me know in that chat how brutal it is maybe after this race. If the wife is finally done working, she got pretty busy at work, maybe I can reset this internet here and see if that'll do the trick for the 410s. But starting grid here for heat race number 1. Gonna look a little something like this. Starting on the pole, the 56 of Randy Shreves, and to his outside, Brian Moore Sr. The high side banger, Patrick Spangler, rolls off on the inside of row number 2, and the pole sitter, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, rolls off on the outside. Inside of row number 3, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, and to his outside, Mike Cramner in the 70. John Morano rolls off on the inside of row number 4, and rounding out the field, the 012 of Bob Curtis. As the green flag is high, it's ready to fly for heat race number 1, presented by Gambler Motorsports. Randy Shreves brings us to the green flag. Brian Moore Sr. there was in the middle, 3 wide for a second as Brandon Dittmer up early, 5th to 3rd. Jeff Barker trying to hang on to that 4th spot, but he's got the high side banger below him, but battle for the lead. Brian Moore Sr. ducks below the 56 of Randy Shreves. Randy Shreves trying to do a counter here. Can he throw a big slide job into 1 and 2? No, he can't. Brian Moore Sr. shuts the door, and he's going to try to drive away. He's got to go quick, though, because the Spider Monkey is ripping the outside, and the high side banger down there in the basement, the 39, 3 more times around. Oh, Brandon Dittmer with a little bit of a hiccup into that 83, but able to keep on rolling. But the high side banger, he's the only one with the lane open in front of him. He's got to work it, though. It's difficult down there on the bottom as he tries to make the pass for P2. Looks to have done it on Randy Shreves through 3 and 4. Looking to get the white flag this time by. Can the high side banger get by Brian Moore Sr. as he gets oh so close to the inside touring tire. That may have done the deal. That's the writing on the wall. Brian Moore Sr. through 3 and 4 is going to take the checkered flag here at Charlotte. Patrick Spengler loses P2 to Randy Shreves, and Brandon Dittmer comes home 4th. Jeff Barker rounding out the top 5. Great race there, heat race number 1. Definitely did not disappoint here. As we're going to bring up that starting grid here for heat race number 2 in just a moment. There it goes. Starting on the pole in the 218, Superman Kurt Schatzer into his outside in the 814, Brad Waite. The librarian Pat Boyce rolls off on the inside of row number 2 into his outside, the salesman Blake Chapman. Inside of row number 3, Brian Moore Jr. We just saw his dad win heat race number 1. Into his outside in that 789, Cale Bixler. Rounding out the field in the 531, we have Armando Melgoza. As man, oh man, I keep getting those dropped frames detected. Once again, my apologies. Worked fine, went without a hiccup last night, and well, you know, that's technology here. I should have known that it wouldn't go smooth, but Maurer Home Inspections, or Regency Home Inspections, heat race number 2 is about underway as Brad Waite and Kurt Schatzer lead us to the green flag. The salesman, Blake Chapman, look at him going high and handsome through 1 and 2. Already looking to the outside of the 814 is the salesman, Kurt Schatzer, trying to go up there and shut that door, but he left the little crease open. Maybe didn't get the best run off, worried about Blake, and now Brad Waite goes on by, but Pat Boyce and Cale Bixler make contact. They keep rolling, but Pat Boyce now, he's finished, he's done. Blake Chapman going back down to the basement. Kurt Schatzer's got that high line rolling, trying to get back around the 814 of Brad Waite. Brad Waite in the middle in 3 and 4, kind of not where you want to be. Just in no man's land there. You can't really get as much grip as Blake's getting on the bottom, and you don't get that runoff like Kurt Schatzer does. As you see, he takes over the lead here. 2 more trips around the dirt track at Charlotte. Blake Chapman down there trying to do what Patrick Spengler couldn't. Take the bottom the whole way to the front. Patrick had a great run, but just ultimately almost hit that tire, hiccuped him out of a win as we're going down the backstretch for the final time. Can Blake Chapman throw a big send in here into 3 and 4? He's going to keep it in the basement. Who takes heat race number 2? It's going to be the salesman, Blake Chapman, followed by Kurt Schatzer, Brad Waite, Brian Moore Jr., Steve Bixler, Armando Melgoza, and Pat Boyce. As we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and, well, I'm going to try to send out some messages here, find out how bad this is, see if we have time for maybe a quick internet reset after this, but we'll be back with more on the Coast to Coast Racing Network right after this. We are back on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. A little over 20 seconds left here in warm-ups, and man, oh man, I am sorry about the quality here tonight. I don't know what is going on. Gonna have to get my man Ryan Seneca on the horn here and run through a little bit of my settings with me, because this is not being nice here. Is super fine last night, didn't change anything, but if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. That is the story here this evening at Charlotte as we get ready for tonight's feature event here at the dirt track at Charlotte, presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. I see Patrick telling me that the stream will... not great, but it's not, I guess, terrible enough to warrant a restart. But man, oh man, shucks. Here as we get ready for Flatline Racing Bodies feature, and here's the RSN trackside starting lineup. Brian Moore Sr. is going to roll off to the inside of row number 1, and to his outside, the salesman Blake Chapman. Inside of row number 2, the 56 of Randy Shreves, and to his outside, Superman Kurt Schatzer. The high side banger rolls off on the inside of row number 3, and to his outside in the 814, Brad Waite. The Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, on the inside of row number 4, and to his outside, Brian Moore Jr. The Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker, to the inside of row number 5, and to his outside, and that's 789, Cale Bixler. Mike Cramner on the inside of row number 6, and to his outside, newcomer in the 531, Armando Melgoza. John Morano is going to roll off 13th on the inside of the librarian, Pat Boyce. And, well, rounding out the field, but did not make the call, is the 012 of Bob Curtis. So we get ready to take the green flag. Here we'll go around one more time. My pick for the race, the salesman, Blake Chapman. I really like what Blake has to offer here at Charlotte. He's going to run that bottom, and I don't think there are going to be many other guys who do it. I think it'll last a while, and then when Blake needs to, he can move up to that top shelf. So keep an eye on those guys out front, but especially that 20 and, well, the 39. He'll probably try to make his way on up there, and can't sleep on that Spider Monkey in the 83. But the green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Let's go play in the clay at the dirt track at Charlotte. We're underway. Blake Chapman right away to the outside here in 1 and 2. Randy Shreve stuck in the middle with Kurt Schatzer and Patrick Spangler to his inside and out. Blake Chapman gets the door slammed shut on him by Brian Moore Sr. Brian Moore leads lap number 1. Patrick Spangler and Blake Chapman right to that basement, right like I said they would. Nobody else was going to go there, and, well, if nobody else is going to go there, those two will find a way to make it work. But, you know, it's easier said than done here. They found their way to the bottom, but making it work, man, right now it's a struggle. It seems like you want to be on that high side. The librarian up 4 spots early here. We see Pat Boyce trying to work his way around the outside of Jeff Barker in that 513 as they fight down the backstretch. Give the momentum in the run to the 41 of Pat Boyce. He's going to complete the pass. Up 5 spots, 14th to 9th, excuse me. Kurt Schatzer fights back, gets around the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. Patrick and Blake, we see them both now. They're both to the high side. Man, they wanted to make the bottom work. They tried, but it's just not there. I was being optimistic. I thought they could get it to go, but right now just not able to do it as we watch them sail in here into turn 1. We'll watch the run off the backstretch here. Look at them all exiting up high. That's where you want to be. And then just watch them set sail into 3. But Blake Chapman, man, he is reeled in. Our leader, Brian Moore Sr., gonna dime in there in 1 and 2. Not enough, though, to think about throwing a slider just yet. He's got a long way to go. No reason to show your hand, but Blake, maybe I'll give you one. That 56 of Randy Shreves, he's coming. And Patrick Spangler, he just found a way around the 814 of Brad Waite. So Brad Waite's struggling a little bit right now. Battle for the lead, though, as Blake just throws the slider. But caution is out. John Morano brings out the caution here at Charlotte. Let's take a look, see if we can see what happened. Oh, I believe the right front at that point was already broke. Gonna rewind here. So, yeah, he had gotten in the wall coming out of 4. Broke the right front. You see him trying to turn it. No response, and he's got to park it in the wall. This is what Patrick Spangler, I think, wanted here. You get a restart on the high side. It's where you want to be. Brian Moore Sr. will, I don't know. He may take the bottom just because looking. Let's go up here. Let's go with the flag man. Let's just take a look. Now, see how it's all shiny up there on the top part of the track? Leader might want that bottom part. There's a lot of grip there coming out of 4 on the bottom. Not necessarily what you want race time, because you want to keep that momentum up on the high side, but we do. We see Brian Moore Sr. take the bottom here. I'm not surprised by that. You plant the outside in the slick here on the restart. So, experienced move there by Brian Moore Sr., and where he just drove, he wants to go a little lower than that. You want to make sure you are out of the tack, but just low enough that you're keeping Blake in it. As Brian Moore Sr. in the 558 looks to bring us to the green flag here. Wrong button. Correct button now. The green flag is high. It's ready to fly. Brian Moore Sr. brings us back to racing. Blake Chapman able to get a good run on the outside of 1 and 2. Same with the high side banger. Patrick Spangler, look at the move here from the salesman. You gotta go while it's there. Blake Chapman second to first here. The high side banger, 2 for 1 in the 39. Oh, Blake Chapman looking. Here we go. We got a battle on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. The high side banger right to the top shelf, looking for a big run here. He's gonna throw one more. To the bottom in 1 and 2, sliding up in front of the 20 of Blake Chapman. Blake Chapman looking for another one here. He's going to run it in the middle, try to diamond off. Looking for a big run here. He's got to throw a slider in 1 and 2. The 39's got it at the line. Patrick Spangler with as good of a counter as we've seen, and he's got Blake beat going into 3 and 4. He should have the edge on this battle here as we come to the line. But Blake, man, he has not given up this fight. We thought advantage 39, still a little bit of an advantage, but man, the kid is trying to sell some popcorn here this evening. He is going at it with the high side bangers. Patrick leads 10 to go. Kind of cooled off back there, the librarian Pat Boyce. We're going to stick at this battle for the front. As you see, Patrick got in the wall a little bit. Blake Chapman right back down to the basement. He's got to throw it in here into 1 and 2 as he does. Oh, Patrick almost gets into him as he little bit of a hiccup there when he cracked the throttle. Big slider, able to complete the pass. Blake Chapman not going to look for a slider this time, going to fall back in line. Blake, he's thrown every trick in the book. He threw a big boy slider to get to the lead over Brian Moore Sr. And, well, Patrick Spangler, he caught them both with their pants down there and just went by them both. And slider battle after slider battle with Blake Chapman. He hasn't looked back. Randy Shreves, meanwhile, has been able to get around Brian Moore Sr. and move into that third and final podium spot. So he's looking for a caution to get up here and contend with these guys as we come to the line. You saw he put the hand up there. 5 laps, 5 more times around. Blake Chapman doing all he can, trying to mount a charge on the high side, but just a little loose there through 1 and 2. He's got to find a way to smooth out, does that 20. Much better that time. Closes in on the 39 a little bit, but if you're Blake, you're running out of time. You got 3 more trips around. He's going to go downstairs. He's going to see if there's some grip down there. I told you he was slipping up in 1 and 2. Maybe saving the bottom here for these last 2 laps. Let's see what he's got 2 more times around. Patrick Spangler committed to that high side, looks fast. Blake's got to go where he isn't. Can he find a way to make it work? White flag in the air, final time around for the 39. Patrick Spangler got to the front on a big move, a 2-for-1 slide job. Had to hold off Blake. He was able to. Final time through 3 and 4. The 39 wins tonight's 360 feature event at the dirt track at Charlotte, followed by Blake Chapman, Randy Shreves, Kurt Schatzer, Brad Waite, Brian Moore Sr., Brian Moore Jr., Jeff Barker, Pat Boyce, and Cale Bixler rounding out the top 10. As the high side banger gets it done here at Charlotte. He had to work for that one. Blake Chapman did not make it easy on the 39. So we'll give these guys a minute or two to catch their breath here, and you get to hear my dog bark at the neighbor dog. As I think he's maybe quieting down a little bit, but I imagine it's going to start back up here again as I hear the neighbor's car pulling in the driveway. So when it rains, it pours here on your man Shaggy. But I'll tell you what, Patrick, man, he did what he had to do here, and Randy Shreves, he had to work hard for that final podium spot. So let's give them a minute. And I just realized they are probably looking for me because after I did the computer restart here, do you think I put myself back up in the Discord? No, I didn't. So they probably were like, hey, where is Shaggy? Where is Shaggy? Let's see, Randy Shreves just came up here. Hey, Randy, Shaggy up here in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Well, hey, I mean, we got to watch you there early on. You were trying to hold off Patrick, but you just able to get around you. But, man, we're watching you now battle here with Brian Moore Sr. Talk to us about how tricky it was to use that top shelf, man, to get around.
Yeah, it was definitely a tricky one trying to stay out of that wall, and it was definitely a task trying to get around Brian there. I mean, he was fast, and I just kind of found a little something, and I was just trying to pass him clean and just find a way to do that most of the race, and then finally got by him, and then it just got a little slicker, a little harder to control. So I kind of knew that Blake and Patrick were gonna just check out there. So yeah, I was just trying to hold on to third to keep my podium.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Brian doing what he's got to do there, but he did you no favors. By the time you got around quite the gap, to the guys in front of you, and at that point, sometimes you drive a little bit too hard to catch the guy in front of you. But do you think maybe with a late race caution, you could have danced with those two for the front, or were you just kind of the third place car tonight?
Well, I don't know. It's always tough with them guys. I know I can kind of hang with them most of the time, but just beating them is just another task in its own. So I'm happy to run third with them guys. So.
Yeah, I mean, running third to them guys, that's nothing short of a good feat there. So big run here tonight, Randy. Congratulations on the third place. Who you want to thank, my man?
Definitely want to thank you guys at Coast to Coast, you for doing the broadcast. Want to thank my son Dylan Shreves at Dylan Shreves Designs for painting my car. And I want to thank everybody for watching.
Well, good luck here in the 410, Randy. You got to be one of the favorites rolling into that, my man.
Yeah, thanks, Zach.
That's your third place finisher, Randy Shreves. And now we're going to bring up the man who kind of got caught with his pants down here a little bit, Blake. We saw you throw that slider on Brian Moore Sr. Did you have any idea that Patrick was that close and was going to make, turn up the battle that quick?
No, that really shocked me when I saw him throwing the slider there in 1 and 2. After I got around Brian there at 3 and 4, I figured he'd get a good run on the top because that was the place to be off of the restart. But I didn't think he was going to get a good enough run to throw a slider on me. But It was kind of a little weird track tonight. I wish I would have utilized that middle a little bit more. I think I would have had maybe a little something more to compete with Patrick if I could have utilized that middle on both ends. It was still fast. So overall, we'll take a second place, though.
Yeah, it was, you said it yourself. I mean, it was fast in 1 and 2, but I was really surprised it was really quick in 3 and 4. I haven't really seen the track wear like that. Such a long way around the top shelf, but still the middle was kind of left open. You think that gives you any ideas here for the 410 if it wears the same?
Yeah, I mean, it could be totally different for the 410s. You change the time of day, maybe the weather's different and the track comes in a little different. The cushion was really rough. Maybe it'll be smooth for the 410. So you never know with iRacing. That keeps things interesting, that's for sure. We'll just have to wait and find out.
Well, hey, great run tonight, Blake. It's a little choppy. I'm having some internet issues tonight, but man, the battle up front looked good and you gave it all you could to the high side banger. Sadly, not enough tonight. Got to settle for P2, but who you want to thank, my man?
Yeah, I got to thank the family for watching. I got to thank all the guys at KSR. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps and Andy at AJ Custom Creations. Of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. You can head over to their website and don't forget to use code CART. That's C-A-R-T at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. And I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on.
Well, great run, man. You missed a week there, but every time you're here, been in the top 5. Another good points run for you here. So good luck the rest of the way, Blake.
Thanks, Shaggy.
And we'll pull up our winner here, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. Patrick, feel free to talk if you want, but mind me for a second. We're gonna find your move here, the first one, your pass on those two guys. I got a couple to click off here. But man, did you have that planned, Patrick? That 2-for-1, or did you just get kind of lucky, or coming up on him at the right time?
I know Blake threw it in there, and I knew he wasn't going to clear him by much. Moore had to back out of it quite a bit, so I knew they both were going to be down on speed there, and I had a full head of steam coming. And Charlotte's wide enough where you can drive in along the inside of the tires, and you have enough room to clear them into 3 and 4. So I just did a big send and was hoping. I know there wasn't much cushion there, but I was just hoping the cushion would hold me. And then I thought it was going to be gone after that. Usually just top, but then Blake kept getting me on the inside of 3 and 4 and keep passing me. So I just moved to the middle of 3 and 4 and just try to keep her clean from there on out.
Yeah, Blake talked a little bit about that there, the middle in 3 and 4. When's the last time you've seen a track wear like this? A little awkward track here for the race this evening.
Yeah, I'm glad Hometown Heroes are here at Charlotte because I usually hate this track. But usually it's just around the wall, but maybe it's just because the pre-gen is only 12 cars. I don't know. But it was very tacky there still, and I had to move down because of it. But yeah, it's good to see it change up.
Well, Patrick, you were a busy man tonight helping me out with this stream issue and going out and taking a checkered flag. So hell of a run for that 39 tonight, man. Who you want to thank?
Just you for the awesome broadcast each week, Roger, Run the League, D&T Designs for the Halloween paint I got on for October, and Dad and Uncle back home watching, and Triangle's racing. Well,
great run here, Patrick. Good luck in the 410, man. I do believe you are the current point leader, so carry over that momentum.
Gotcha. Hopefully talk to you soon.
All righty. That's Patrick Spangler, your winner in the 39. And with that, we're going to take a quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we'll be right back with tonight's main event, your 410s here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Stick around.
it's time for another edition of Iracing Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get right when we talked about it.
Outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
And we are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with part of Shaggy TV. We're ready to bring you the Flatline Racing Bodies Hometown Heroes main event here this evening. We got the 410s pulled out of the trailers here at Charlotte, and gonna have a lot of power on the track here. In this one, this should be a fun race here. See how the track wears in. May get a bottom middle groove once again, or with these high powerful motors, we may see guys just rip that lip here, but it is going to be an interesting main event. As before we did that reset, because Believe it or not, I think it was lagging even worse than it is now. There in the beginning, I had the points up, but because I closed them down, I don't have them, and now I do. Patrick Spangler is your current point leader. He's ahead of Anthony Morano by 3 points, but the Ant-Man is not here tonight. So Patrick Spangler looking to lock down on this lead. He is the first guy off of pit road. We'll watch him lap number 1. Patrick Spangler got all that speed through 3 and 4, ripping the middle in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, he's going to run that middle, not going to get real low to the tires. Anxious to see how this looks on the charts. He's going to be first by default, first person done. The Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, though, with almost just as fast of a lap. But Patrick Spangler, purple Sector 1, slower Sector 2, so not going to improve. Right now, Brad Waite in the 814 moves on up to P2 as he comes around for his second and final lap. But look at the salesman, Blake Chapman, here as he takes over the pole in the 20, looking to get the early jump on Patrick Spangler. Let's go watch Brian Moore Jr. here as he comes around. This is his first lap. Brian Moore Jr. in that 09, but looky who just took the pole. Rick Mayne. It's high noon time here at Charlotte. As Rick wasn't feeling it there, just going to back her down. But Rick with the pole here at Charlotte. Good lap by Rick Mayne. Brian Moore Jr. pulls in here. And that's going to do it for qualifying. So these drivers will take a minute or two here. And looks like they actually did advance. So we'll get ready to roll for heat race number 1. Whoops, was clicking the wrong button. I was talking through Discord, not to you, so you get to hear it again. Gambler Motorsports Heat Race number 1, starting on the pole, Brian Moore Jr. into his outside, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer. Inside of row number 2, the high side banger, Patrick Spangler. Into his outside, the pole sitter in the 187, Rick Mayne. Corey Denson in the 91 is going to roll off on the inside of row number 3, and rounding out the field tonight, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. As Brian Moore Jr. able to hit that qualifying spot that put him on P1 there, front row. As you know, they invert the top 4, so got to take advantage of it, especially when you got Rick Mayne and Patrick Spangler right behind you, because they are no slouches. They will get it done. But as the green flag is high, it's ready to fly. Heat race number 1, presented by Gambler Motorsports, is underway. Oh, Rick Mayne and Brian Moore Jr. get caught up. Patrick Spangler goes around. 4 cars involved to start out. Rick Mayne in P3. He's got to take it in the infield to fix it. Oh man, Jeff Barker rolls around P2, but the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, is all alone out front. Let's check the gap. There goes Brandon, there goes Jeff. Now where is P3? We were looking for Corey Denson. There he goes. There goes Brian Moore Jr. There goes Patrick Spangler, and here comes Rick Mayne. Rick Mayne, excuse me, still in the pits. That was Brandon Dittmer. So there is Brandon Dittmer. And there's 5th place Patrick Spangler. Brandon trying to run him down, put him a lap down. No battles at all really currently on the track after that. Very spread out. So with 1.5 trips around here, let's just watch our leader, Brandon Dittmer, the Spider Monkey, gonna look to just be smooth here and take the checkers here in heat race number 1. He knows if he can get through 3 and 4, he's gonna start on the pole for tonight's feature, and that's exactly what the Spider Monkey's gonna do. Followed by Jeff Barker, Corey Denson, here comes Corey Denson, Brian Moore Jr., and Patrick Spangler. Somehow we got up in the blimp. I don't think we chose the blimp. Maybe we did, as the high side banger comes to a stop on the backstretch, and we get ready for Regency Home Inspection Heat Race number 2. Starting on the pole, the 56 of Randy Shreves, and to his outside in the 558, Brian Moore Sr. Inside of row number 2 in the 814, Brad Waite. Into his outside in the 20, the salesman, Blake Chapman. Rounding out the field, we have the librarian of Pat Boyce. Blake Chapman finished second in tonight's 360 feature event. Would love to start second in tonight's 410 feature event, and in order to do that, he's got to win heat race number 2 as the Steve King Foundation pace truck pulls off, and we look to go green here at Charlotte 6 times around the world famous dirt track. As Randy Shreves sees the green flag, it's high, it's flying, let's go racing at Charlotte. Randy Shreves with a good slide there in 1 and 2, able to get up to that top shelf in front of Brian Moore Sr. Meanwhile, Blake Chapman holds the advantage of the high side over the 814. Brad Waite as he lets that spot slip up. Blake Chapman from 4th to 3rd early, but he's got to go. He's got to go while they're close. You can't let everyone string out. Randy Shreves wants this thing to just stay single file the rest of the way here. 4 more trips around as Blake Chapman all over the tail tank of that killer bee, the 558 of Brian Moore Sr. Halfway, Randy Shreves looking down at that watch. Can't wait for this thing to be over. About 30 seconds away from a feature win here. Blake Chapman running out of time. 2 more laps. Can he get a run? Can he make a move on this 558? Going to peak low, going down the backstretch. He's got to send it into 3 and 4. Can he complete the pass? White flag in the air. Blake Chapman P2. Brian Moore Sr., though, sending him back. A little dinner side by side down the backstretch. Final time through 3 and 4. Randy Shreves is going to be your heat race number 2 winner, followed by Blake Chapman, Brian Moore Sr., Brad Waite, and the librarian Pat Boyce. As we should take a real quick break here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, and we will be back with tonight's final feature event here presented by Flatline Racing Bodies. Stick around. We are back live on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. No surprise, the salesman at the top of the charts here. Blake Chapman, the quickest in warm-ups. Brad Waite second. The Maine, Rick Maine third. The Librarian fourth, and the High Side Banger rounding out the top 5. Is, you know, let's go park it over here in turns 2. Let's see what the exits look like right now in warm-ups. Looks like, you know, back to a normal Charlotte track that we heard Patrick describe earlier, where you want to rip that outside. You know, him and Blake, as Pat Boyce hard into the outside wall, goes into the infield. Patrick Spangler does a 360 and continues. Oh, and he gets slammed from behind. Patrick's going to have to go see a chiropractor here before this feature starts. There we see the Moores, father and son, in line there. All right, and your feature lineup for your final event here in Flatline Racing Body's Hometown Heroes Wednesday night looks a little something like this. You remember that heat race number 1, not very exciting, but Brandon Dittmer able to walk away. And he's going to start on the pole for tonight's feature. To his outside, Randy Shreves in the 56. Inside of row number 2, the Brewerton Beast, Jeff Barker. And to his outside, the salesman, Blake Chapman. Corey Denson is going to roll off on the inside of row number 3, and to his outside, Brian Moore Sr., Brian Moore Jr. to the inside of row number 4, and to his outside, Brad Waite. Inside of row number 5, the High Side Banger, Patrick Spangler, and to his outside, the Librarian, Pat Boyce. Rounding out the field in the 187, we have Rick Maine this evening, who I would be shocked if Rick Maine ended up finishing in last. He is definitely not a last place car, just involved in the Heat 1 incident, and from there has to go to the back. Got to try to restart this night here. As I'm going to make my pick here. I believe I picked Blake in the last one. Finished second. I didn't doom him. I think he's due. I'm going to pick Blake again here, so odds are you pick Blake Chapman twice in one night, he's going to win one of them. So I'm just playing the odds here. Trying to be smart, but there's a lot of guys who could knock off the king here, and got 25 laps here to figure it out as the Spider Monkey brings us off of turn 4. Let's go play in the clay at the dirt track at Charlotte. We're underway. Ooh, a little hiccup early from Jeff Barker there, and that allows 2 cars to go by him on the outside. Jeff Barker down 3 spots, started third, back to 6, so needs to get into a groove. But meanwhile, Blake Chapman started 4th, excuse me, up to 2nd, looking for that lead, trying to get 3 guys, not going to do it just yet. Brad waiting the 814, trying to go up where Grandma hides the cookies here, but he's got a slider battle going on in front of him. Brandon Dittmer and Brian Moore Sr. back and forth, back and forth. Brian Moore Sr. gets the door shut in his face. He gets a better run, though, through 1 and 2. Now Brandon Dittmer's got 2 cars he's got to deal with here as Brian Moore Sr. completes the pass, and he's got the 814 down below him, battle for the lead. Blake Chapman took a peek through 1 and 2, not able to get that drive off he would have liked, and Randy Shreves back on the grind, pulls away. Oh, Brandon Dittmer, the Spider Monkey, broken right front, must have gotten to the wall, coming off of 4. No caution yet. The Spider Monkey going to pull it in the pits. Brian Moore Jr., though, that's going to break his heart. He's involved. No caution. We keep rolling. Let's watch the gaps throughout the field. We see our leader, Randy Shreves, Blake Chapman, Brian Moore Sr. roll along, and then we got a battle here. Back towards the back, Rick Maine, Corey Denson. He's got a buzzing field behind him. He's got Jeff Barker, Pat Boyce, and the High Side Banger, Patrick Spangler. Patrick started 9th, still running 9th, even after that trouble there with Brandon Dittmer, so he got a free spot on the track. That's my point. Patrick Spangler not running as well as that 39 does usually. Rick Mayne, talked about him not being a last place car. I told you he wouldn't finish there. Started in the back, up to 5th here. He's got a 2.9 second gap between him and the leader. Right now, not making up too much time, but he's running the bottom, saving tires. So if he gets a caution, he's playing the long game. And Blake Chapman is slowly ticking into that lead here that Randy Shreves has. He's got that lead down to 0.4 of a second here. As we saw, he was all over Randy Shreves earlier, kind of let the battle cool off. Randy pulled away, and now he's trying to go back at him here with 13 to go, coming to 12 to go. We are halfway. Not a lot of time. Blake's gotta hurry up. He's gotta, you gotta drive with some go get it now. You can't just hang out. Patrick Spangler, he finally got around those guys. He maybe was hoping for a caution, trying to save his stuff, but now he realized, you're right, Shaggy, I gotta turn it on, man. I gotta go. Oh, battle for the lead. Blake Chapman in the basement through 3 and 4. Randy Shreves with a counter. We're going to get another slider into 1 and 2. 10 to go. This is what we want. 2 of the best here battling for the checkers. Blake Chapman goes down to the basement in 3 and 4, looking for a big run. Gonna slide up in front of the 56 of Randy Shreves. Randy can't get as good of a run as he'd like. Gonna have to stay to that top shelf in 3 and 4. Maybe try to work the middle for a run. 8 to go. Brian Moore Sr., watching these guys battle, has been able to get back into the picture. Look at that yellow jacket. He'd love those guys to battle a little more and make it a 3-way here. 7 more trips around the sun here for the salesman, Blake Chapman. Can he be smooth? He's starting to pull away from the 56. You got to think a caution and that guy inside the cockpit, those are his 2 enemies right now. He's just got to be smooth, and he doesn't want to see a caution. Brad Waite trying to get into this as well here. He wants that final podium spot, that 8:14 for Inferno Motorsports. Will he be able to get there? He's running that middle line. He is running them down right now. Brad Waite, one of the faster cars on the track here these last couple laps. So Brad Waite is going to throw a move here. He looks low going down the backstretch. Should be an easy one for the 8:14 as he moves into that 3rd and final podium spot. 3 laps to go. Randy Shreves has let Blake slip away. Now you got to think, does he have enough to just hold on to P2 here? 2 more trips around as Brian Moore Sr. maybe figured out a little something behind that 8:14. He goes back for that final podium spot. White flag in the air. Final time around for the salesman. Let's keep an eye on this battle for P3. Will Brad Waite be able to make a run? It does not look like it. As we go up front, the salesman, Blake Chapman, through 3 and 4. Checkered flag in the air. The salesman gets it done. Followed by Randy Shreves, Brian Moore Sr., Brad Waite, Rick Mayne, Patrick Spangler, Corey Denson, Brian Moore Jr. just beats out Jeff Barker there as we saw the battle. The librarian, Pat Boyce, and Brandon Dittmer, 10th and 11th, do not finish on the lead lap. As what a race there. Lots and lots of green flag racing, and Blake Chapman able to just save that right rear long enough and go pounce on the 558 of Brian Moore Sr. But I think at the end of the day, a field like this, I do believe Brian Moore Sr. is going to be happy with that one. I don't think he's going to be disappointed. And, 25 laps, no caution, all green flag. I mean, this is what you want. You get a chance to go up here and show your talent, and you're able to do so. We'll give these guys a second or two to catch their breath. It does look like Brian Moore is able to make it up on into the booth here. Brian, Shaggy up here, man. You got a copy?
I got you, Shaggy.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, I can hear it in your voice a little bit. How'd that feel, man? 25 laps, and we know the 410, dude. No joke. So, I mean, how you feeling right now?
Oh, man, I'm sweating my butt off. No cautions. That was cool. That was pretty awesome, man. I like it. The track stayed good most of the race, and plenty of something to grab a hold of. No matter, you could search around and find different lines at different times through the race. Like that middle in 1 and 2 came in pretty good for a little while, and then the top, you had to be way up on top, and I get kind of sketchy entering on the top like that, so I usually throw a slight slider line and try to grab the top coming out. So, and that worked pretty good for me tonight.
Yeah, we saw Bradway get around you there with a couple laps to go for that final podium spot, and it seemed like you're able to figure something out once again and be able to go back at him. What did you learn there those last couple laps to steal P3 back?
Yeah, he got by me there, and I noticed he might have spun his tires or something, and that enabled me to get back under him. And then I just did like I said. I threw a slider line in 1 and 2 there and just got back to the top as soon as I could. And then went back to my little slider lines to where I come out on the top, and that seems to work best for me. And I was worried that he must have found something himself, because I was worried he was going to get back by me there. But when I heard 2 laps to go, I thought, well, just hold on here.
Well, I'll
but
tell
that
you,
was fun. That was fun.
It looked fun, Brian. And, man, we might have to start calling you Mr. Wednesday Night here as another podium. These hometown heroes, right. You're becoming pretty good at these things. And, I probably talked to you more than I have anyone else this season. So congratulations, Brian. What a run, man. Who you want to thank for third place?
Just my son for coming and practicing with me a lot and helping talking me through, on the cautions. Of course, we didn't get no cautions there, but on cautions, we'll usually mic up and ask each other where we're running and stuff. So that kind of helps. And just to give a shout out to my brother Rick and Rona and Andy and another one of my son's friends. But excuse me, that's really fun. I really like doing this. And thank you, Shaggy, for broadcasting this and all the work and stuff you put into it, and Coast to Coast League, Roger, all the guys, all the administrators, and it's just fun, man. I really like this. And Wednesday night, I really like the Wednesday night stuff because we're on fixed setups, and I feel like that just
equal playing field
evens the field out. Right.
Yes, sir. Yep, I've always felt that way because let's be honest. At the end of the day, we do love this. It is a sim, but there are still certain tricks in the setup that help the car do different things. And for guys like me who don't know what those tricks are, it is really nice. Yeah, it's nice getting to be out here on the even playing field. So great run here, Mr. Wednesday Night. Looking forward to a lot more of these. Brian, congratulations.
Right. Great. Thank you, Shane.
And we're going to bring up here the man who finished P2, Randy Shreves. Randy, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, hey, man, early on, it seemed like you're able to set that tempo and walk away from Blake a little bit, but just talk to us. It seemed like as the outside thinned up, just seemed like Blake got more comfortable and it got a little more sketchy for everybody else.
Yeah, he definitely found something there. I noticed on my relative that he was coming up pretty quick on me, and beginning of the race I had an awesome start, was able to take off, thought I had it in the bag. If I don't know if I could run that top a little better or figure something out as quick as Blake did, but that's the issue with leading the race. You just want to hold your line and hope that the person behind you don't find something faster. But I knew Blake was back there, so I knew he'd find something. But it was an awesome race, though.
No, you're exactly right, Randy. When you walk out to that kind of lead, you're kind of committed to what you have, you know, you can't really search around. You don't want to give that up. And, well, you gave Blake a hell of a run, and finishing P2 to him, you know, not what you want, but at the end of the day, it's a great run. So congratulations, Randy. Who you want to thank?
I definitely want to thank Coast to Coast for putting on this awesome league, you for the broadcast, KSB Builders, Dylan Shreves Designs, and everybody for watching.
Well, great run tonight, Randy. Looking forward to talking to you again next week, my man.
Yep, thanks, Zach.
That's Randy Shreves, your P2 finisher. And now we're going to bring up the man of the hour, Blake. It looked like there at the end, you used that middle lane. Randy was kind of committed up, and you're able to run him back down. Talk to us about the move.
Yeah, early on in the race, I thought that bottom was going to come in. I figured that would be the fast line. It seemed like there was a lot of grip down there, but running down there, it was just really, really wet, it seemed like, and that middle just kept getting faster, so we had to move up there. And we were able to run a couple different lines to catch Randy and found something that was comfortable and was able to make the move at the right time. And then this track really came in like the 360 race did. That middle still had a lot of speed. So I wasn't sure if I was going to catch Randy or not. It seemed like the track was changing a lot, but fortunately we were able to get out to a lead and get comfortable.
Yeah, whenever you completed that pass there, we saw he goes back at you. We're watching it here one, maybe two times, but it seemed like you were able to, check out and get pretty comfortable here. Was there anything about this track that just really fit you here tonight, or, is it just kind of you're in your own class?
I don't know. I think it kind of comes down to experience. I run this track a lot. I've run multiple lines at this track, and that middle just it seems like it was really smooth there tonight. So I like a nice smooth track, and it felt like this car was really hooking up in that middle. So sometimes it's your night, and sometimes it's not. So I think tonight was definitely one of those nights for us.
Yeah, 2 podiums, great runs tonight, kid. I mean, second and first, can't get much better than that. So congratulations. Who you want to thank on the big win?
Yeah, I got to thank Mom and Dad for watching. Got to thank all the guys down at KSR. Got to thank Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps, Dandy at AJ Custom Creations. Of course, I got to thank Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. They got some of the best stuff out there. Head over to their website, and don't forget to use code CART at checkout for 15% off of your purchase. And I got to thank you for putting this broadcast on.
Well, big win here tonight, Blake. Congratulations. Sorry about the little crappy quality here. We're going to try to test around with some stream settings after this when you go back and watch it. But you tore it up here tonight, man. You're able to steal it here once again. Congratulations.
Thanks, Shaggy.
And that's your winner, Blake Chapman here. Able to get it done. And let's take a look at this points lead. So I believe now, like I say, Blake did miss a race already this year. So he's only run 2. Now, Patrick Spengler, he's got 2 wins. Anthony Morano with 1. Now the third winner here will be Blake. So 3 different winners. Patrick should come out of here. Is still the point leader is Joseph Grandy. He was 3rd. He's not here this evening. Brian Moore Sr. was 4th. So he should move on up into P2 after a good podium from Mr. Wednesday night there, Brian Moore Sr. But that's going to do it here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. I'm Zach Chapman here with Shaggy TV. Thanks for dealing with the issues here tonight. We're going to try to get them worked out as I'll be on the call here tomorrow night for Thursday Night Thunder. Have a good evening. Join me tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern.